What we wanted to do is gather to celebrate step one. This is and we know that Cal-Am has been pulling some dirty tricks lately.
Have they ever?
So we've been a little concerned about that. So we thought we would be turning in the signatures today, but we turned them in yesterday.
All right.
Because we didn't want Cal-Am messing with us.
All right.
But Cal-Am is helping us, believe it or not.
They actually,
So I'm going to give you the number in a minute, but the storyline is, or the story is, we needed 6,100 to be the minimum. That's a percentage that's required to get on the ballot. So we always had a target of about 8,000. Always had a target because we needed a cushion. So as the campaign went on in the middle, we were kind of doing average and so on. And then when about halfway through, we were getting a little nervous. So we were trying to put the energy back into the volunteers. We need more, we need more, we need more. And then Cal-Am started putting blockers in front of us, collecting signatures. So we were still struggling to say we're going to have to get to 8,000 and we're going to have to get a little more effort into that. And then they, more recently in the last month, well then we were thinking the signatures were starting to come in a little more than we thought, a little quicker than we thought. And then we got, we were looking at maybe 9,000 is the number we could maybe hit. And so more recently, after the letter campaign that Cal-Am put into place, we were predicting more than 9,000. Maybe we could hit 10,000 because they kept coming in faster and faster and faster. So yesterday we turned in petitions with signatures that numbered 11,400.
God's on our side.
We're all volunteers.
Everybody was a volunteer. Even the paid signature gatherers were doing this as their lost leader. So, so we feel that we got maybe 2,000 signatures in the last 3 weeks.
Wow.
Thank you. That's kind of the rate at which they were just flying in. We just couldn't believe it. In fact, we wanted to keep collecting signatures, but we were running out of time. we were having so much fun. So don't forget, this is all about community-owned water versus corporate water. You ought to know that. We're so convinced that public water is a better deal for the local community than corporate water. We're convinced of that, or we wouldn't be working as hard. More and more, we got to thank the volunteers who made all this happen. We got to thank the endorsers who helped make it happen. They're lending us their names and their position on this. We also have to credit the community response. They heard something. They heard from us, which is positive. I think they heard from Cal-Am, which is negative. It all helped our side of the equation. We're on the high road. We're moving forward quickly with a very substantial statement from the community. So I want to thank the community and you and everybody else. So you deserve applause. And there are a lot of individuals who are key here, but I just think our campaign has always been based on education, always been based on facts, always been based on transparency and full exposure, full discussion, and just exploration of whatever the numbers are. We'll talk about them, we'll deal with them. Cal-Am has been consistently throwing red herrings into the campaign. They don't present any facts. They say they're going to be too expensive. They don't say how. It's going to be too costly. They don't say how. So it's just a scare tactic. I think we should be proud. We've got an educational campaign. We've got facts, and we'll continue to do that. The campaign going forward, this is step one. The campaign going forward is going to be more education, more facts, more promotion, house parties, whatever it is we can to get the word out. We will continue to put on forums like we have in the past. We expect to get Felton down. We've already got confirmation. Felton's coming back. Monterey, who's bought a small Cal-Am system up in San Mateo County, they're coming down. Missoula's coming back. Ojai's coming back. The people that have done it. So they're coming back. We just expect that the district is going to put us on the ballot and I mean, there's this process we have to go through. But we expect to be in a campaign mode probably in another month, and we will go right on through to November. So we look forward to more energy, more enthusiasm, and success. Thank you again. Let's all say 11,405.
11,405!
We can do it. Thank you, George.
Thanks, everybody.
I got
So, it's like Christmas. I think the community has given us a huge gift. I think they reacted. We didn't know how they would react to the Cal-Am campaign, but I think they saw. 4 years ago we did this and we lost. And there were a lot of promises that Cal-Am made. They said that the water supply solution is right around the corner. It's 4 years later. We're no closer to a solution. Cal-Am is full of promises. They just don't deliver. What we're saying is we also are making a promise, and we're delivering. We feel like we're on the right track.
Changes now from 4 years ago.
The changes?
Yeah.
Well, what has not changed is Cal-Am's going to pour a lot of money against us. We know that. But the political leadership was totally against us last time. Almost every political leader you could name on the Peninsula was against us last time. That does not exist this time. The mayors aren't opposed to us. In fact, 3 mayors are in favor of us. They support us. The majority of city council, 3 of the city councils support us. We have some key endorsers generally, which is listed in some of the material that we hand out all the time, and we'll be getting more. So the political landscape has changed locally, but also I think the sentiment in the community is very different. Measure Z passed, which is a version of local control to intervene between, corporate prerogatives around extraction and a local control around that. Community power has also passed locally. Again, inserting some kind of community control between corporate power or corporate decision making and the local community. This is step 3, we say. Energy, community power, and now water.
Do you feel like this is something that you're forcing on the water management district, or it's something that they've been received pretty well?
Well, that's kind of a hard call. We're forcing it on the district, yes, because they have not taken the leadership to step forward. They had the authority to do it. I can imagine that, the political piece of this is always a problem to everybody around. I mean, whether you're pro or con, doesn't matter. It's still a political issue. One thing in your press packet, you should notice, we put some new numbers about how expensive the Cal-Am water system is compared to other private water companies in California. And Cal-Am is still like twice as expensive. We're a cash cow. We're tired of being a cash cow. That's our message. And I think the political leadership in general are starting to see the same thing.
So what exactly will be on the ballot?
It will be, yes, I vote yes. I want a study of the facts of the cost-benefit analysis. It's called a feasibility study. That has to be first. The state law requires that be the first step. And if the study shows it's beneficial to the community, both financially and as a public interest issue, then they must initiate the process. It doesn't require them to conclude it, because we're not going to pay $1 billion for a water company. We're not going to do that. But something short of that is probably affordable. We want to find out what that number is, and that's what we want to. That's what we want to know.
That's what the study is for, to figure out the dollar amount to buy the assets out.
Yes.
How long do you think that Cal-Am could draw this out for in court? They were saying 7 to 10 years. That they might
Well, that's a worst case scenario. They can't cite a single example in California where it's taken that long. Felton didn't take that long. Montero? No, Montero didn't take that long. Ojai didn't take that long. Even Claremont didn't take that long, and Claremont lost. So it doesn't take 7 to 10 years. It may take 2 or 3 years.
But 2 or 3 years is doable.
Even 10 years is doable. We're not concerned about how long it takes. We are concerned about what the facts are and what it says about what our community, what are the benefits to our community if we do this. We want to know those numbers. We trust the Water Management District to do a fair analysis. And it's to their professional and personal and political interest to make it a complete and fair study.
And with that study, are we also going to find out what our bills could look like?
Probably.
So
Probably. I mean, you know what your current bills look like. You're already currently paying more for water, and you don't even have a complete system in place yet. The pipeline is not in there, desal is not in there, so when we get to the end of that, cycle, our bills may be twice what they are right now. So we're looking at the highest water bills in California, highest water bills in the country, and the rise has not stopped yet, because there's still pending applications that Cal-Am is hoping to get approved, and the bill's going to go up. And you still don't have a complete water system.
Are you confident this will pass come November?
Absolutely. But we got to do our work. We think the community's ready.
What's next for you guys?
Well, probably about 2 weeks of just breathing easy. And then we'll start. We're trying to put on another program later this month or early May to continue the campaign of educating the community.
How long would a feasibility study take?
Less than a year.
And when would they have to start that feasibility study? Is there a timeline after the election?
Well, we assume we're going to win. The specific petition asks them to do it within 9 months. And that's doable. So sometime, this time or fall next year, we should be seeing data that will be available to the public, be discussed, be, whatever those reactions are.
How much does a feasibility study cost?
The last estimate we had is maybe $500,000. That's the equivalent of about $12.50 on your water bill one time. It sounds like a lot of money, but when you spread it across 40,000 people who are probably interested in this subject, it's $12.50 once. Then you have the numbers. Then it'll be no longer he said, she said. We'll have a professional study of what the numbers look like, what the benefits might be to the entire community, what it is to individual ratepayers, what it is to the business side as well as the residential side. It'll just be a full range of evaluation data that it'll be substantiated by professionals, and that'll be the talking point then. That's what we'll be talking about, not just if it's a good idea or not.
Why should people vote for this initiative?
It's for their future, man. It's for their wallet. It's for the community. It's for their kids. It's for the people that might want to live here later. One of our cartoons says, I'm not worried about the price of real estate. I'm worried about the price of water. It's bad enough with real estate. Here's a piece of that formula that we can change.
Before you go, letting your name and spell that.
George Riley, R-I-L-E-Y,
What's the title for you?
Managing Director, Public Water Net.
Perfect. Thank you very much. I'm Mary, by the way.
Thank you. Thank you.
So Dave, tell me, now that they've handed over their what's the next step as far as the water district?
That's a great question. In 2014, the Water Management District was charged with the task of the initial count and contracted with the registrar for verification. This year is a little different. The registrar will assume the duties, so George better get in his car and deliver those signatures this afternoon to the county registrar. They will have 30 days to do a statistical analysis of the signatures to guarantee that they are in excess of the 6,059 that are required.
We're gonna get water that tastes
If the statistical analysis does not show that, then they have another 30 days to do a hand count. So 30 to 60 days. And once their certification of the signatures comes back to the district at our next regularly scheduled board meeting after that, to either decide to adopt the ordinance as drafted or refer it to the voters on the ballot. Chances are very likely that we refer it to the voters on the ballot, and then that will begin the normal timeline for getting ballot arguments in, favor and against, and doing that whole process. Basically up to about 125 days before the election, which will be July 4th. So we have a lot to do in a short amount of time.
And all of the cost is on you, right?
Yes.
What is the cost?
Well, in 2014, it was about $185,000 to run the election. Generally speaking, it's about $6 to $8 per voter. So it'll reveal itself once we really know what the election looks like.
He said that he feels like, George, he said that
they had to force this on the water district. Why is this something that the water management district hasn't taken on its own?
Well, we have looked at it in the past. In 2011, we evaluated putting together a citizens panel to look at it. There have been, as George has pointed out, there's been a number of these events. But generally, this is an issue of significant size, and we would not take our obligations lightly to incur, $500,000 on a feasibility study on something that we could end up in the courts and picking up somebody else's legal fees. So we're very happy to do the will of the voters, but 7 directors aren't willing to take on millions of dollars of potential liability without that direction from the voters.
And that's what you're looking at over, these could rack up quickly.
There was a process that did not go well in the city of Claremont, and at the end of the day, there was about $13.5 million of legal expenses that the city had to pick up. So,
and I think like $8 million of that was just the other side.
Exactly. So,
plus their own, yeah.
So, as I said, it's not an obligation that our board takes lightly. Could have serious, expensive repercussions.
Is the water management district set up where you could run this utility?
Oh, absolutely. That's not a question. 85% of all water in California is provided by public agencies. But it is, it's a transition, eminent domain process. It's 3 to 5 years. There've been plenty of time to transition. I have people who've come from organizations that have done billing, customer service, call centers, what have you. So that's not the issue. The issue is, does it pass? And that's what we're looking at.
Do you think in the end this would mean lower water bills?
Well, so defining feasible will be one of the first steps. Is it feasible for everybody in the first year? Is it feasible in the middle of the 30-year life cycle? Is it feasible for the next generation? We will look at that. Some people say it's feasible if your bills just don't go up as fast or as high. So we can't say what the outcome will be until we look at it.
One of the elephants in the room for me when I thought about this was desalination. What could this mean for getting that up and running? I know we've been wanting that for years.
They're on separate tracks. The decision on the desal will happen this year, and a decision on eminent domain will take 3 to 5.
But that could still stay a yes if you're buying out the asset.
Well, it would have an impact. I mean, if the asset is built prior to takeover, then you've got to factor that into your economics. There are other reasons that the desal plant may get hung up. We don't know. So we have to look at those calendars differently, but if they do come together, we'll know that in the future.
Formality's sake, can I get your name and how to spell that, please?
Yeah, it's Dave Stolt, STOLDT, General Manager of this place.
Thank you very much. All right, first up, just to get numbers sake, this is the first time I've been here. How many customers do you all serve in the area?
We have approximately 40,000 connections, so that's serving about 100,000 people.
Okay. All of this today, just a response.
Well, we look forward to the opportunity to work very hard to get the facts out to the voters. I think that if we head down this road, if you look at other places in the country where similar efforts have taken place, the result is always higher costs for customers. So we will be doing our best to let people know the facts about what condemnation and eminent domain of your water system really means when it comes to cost for customers.
They mentioned cost, and they said that this was already the highest cost in the country. And so could it really increase even more? It seems like they're talking about like there's nothing to lose.
Well, the cost of your water is really based on the cost of maintaining the infrastructure and providing the water. Those costs are still going to be in place whether this system is owned by the government or owned by Cal-Am. So none of that goes away. We still have our water supply issues, and that will remain the same. What Public Water Now would like for people to do is, on top of all of that, acquire our system, which would require the public to pay us fair market value for our assets. So you're essentially adding hundreds of millions of dollars to the current cost of water. And as I said, in every case where this has played out in the country, the ultimate cost to customers has increased.
So the idea is the bills wouldn't go down, they could go up.
The bills could definitely go up. I think the cost to acquire our system, if this ballot measure is successful and if an eminent domain proceeding in court is successful, could be in the hundreds of millions of dollars. And again, that is additive to the current cost of providing water.
And do you don't have a dollar amount though yet on the assets?
No, because that number, if it's ever decided, will be decided by a jury. CalAm is not for sale, so in our mind there is no number because this is our business and we intend to stay here and continue to run the water system.
How many people do you employ?
It's about 100 people.
How long do you think that this could take in the court system?
Again, when you look at other instances, it's always a long, protracted process. I would say 7 to 10 years is typical.
Do you think the feasibility study will answer all the questions to CalAm's and to water laws to what they want it to be? Do you think it'll be fair?
You know, in the past, again, in other communities that have taken on this type of eminent domain situation, the feasibility studies always, without fail, come up with a number that is much lower than the ultimate number that's decided upon in court. So there's been a lot of groups that have asked us, why don't you do a feasibility study now so everyone would know what the price would be? And our response is simply that those feasibility studies always undersell the ultimate price, which if we get to that point would be decided by a jury.
So it sounds like CalAm is not really going to rely on these numbers.
No, I mean we're ready to fight a very vigorous campaign, make every effort we can to get the facts out there. We will be talking about what's happened in other communities because I think that's the best way for people to judge what type, how things might play out here in Monterey. And so again, that experience elsewhere in the country is that the feasibility study numbers are never the ultimate number, and the cost to the consumer is ultimately much higher.
People said no by 54% in 2014. Do you think things have changed between now and then?
Well, I think we're in the same situation where we have a number one priority, which is to solve the water supply issues. So again, we will be out there trying to get that message across. Let's keep our focus together as a community. We have the cease and desist order that is looming over us now. Some pretty critical milestones just around the corner on that. And we will be urging everyone to try and keep their focus on solving the water supply issues.
Good. Thank you.
Thank you.